Hey, this is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the statute of limitations on debt. There are a lot of people who still don't know about this, and they're not aware of that debts have a statute of limitations for every state. All 50 states in the United States have a legal statute of limitations. What that means is that if your debt that you owe a creditor or a debt collector is past this date, past the date of the statute of limitations by 1 day, you don't owe that debt. The only way that they can collect on that debt is if they had a judgment against you, and that judgment in most states must be renewed every 10 years. But for this video, we're going to specifically talk about the statute of limitations because a lot of people get this mixed up, and also because if you look at the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, they do not specifically state all the time statute of limitations. They say time barred debt. Also, if a debt is time barred or past the legal statute of limitations to collect, a debt collector can still try to collect on the debt. They just have no legal means like taking you to court, trying to sue you. They can try to say, hey, you have a moral obligation to pay this debt. Also, they must notify you that they're attempting to collect a debt that is past the time barred period. That is actually stated in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, that if a debt collector calls you about a debt that is past the legal statute of limitations or time barred period, that they actually have to notify you of that information when they're attempting to collect on that debt. So first, let's just run through the statute of limitations state by state. We won't take too much time on this, but let me get this a little bit bigger here. That a little bit bigger. So on my website, thecreditrepairshop.com, if you go to my blog at the bottom and type in statute, you'll get to this page here. So you can see here in the first column right there, you can see, let me make this a little bit clearer for you. You can see right here in the first column, written contract. So just so you can see how this is here. That's what these are for, and then these go here. So you have written contracts. This could be like if you have an automobile loan. It could be like you have a personal loan. Anything that's a written contract where you're just paying it back in installment payments. If it was to reach it, let's just say that you live in the state of Alabama and it reached 3 years. That means that on the next day after 3 years, that you would not have to pay that debt if it's with the original creditor or a debt collector. It wouldn't matter. Also, that goes for oral and that goes for promissory notes. And we're seeing a lot of this with the promissory notes being put together with a lot of these fintech companies. They're using this terminology with their loans. And then over here, you're probably wondering, well, what is an open-end contract? That's with credit cards or revolving accounts. Anything that's revolving that utilizes where you can pay and then you can use it again. Usually in most states, that's going to have a shorter statute of limitations period of time to be able to not have to pay that debt if it passed that period. So we can see here, Alabama, very lenient, 3 and 3. We have Alaska, 3 and 3. And I'm going to basically stick with these parts here. But if you have a promissory note, you can go to the website, check out those. Arizona, you can see here, California, 4 and 4. California is also doing really well with what they're requiring debt collectors to have to prove in court to even be able to come after you, even if it's within statute of limitations period. Colorado, 6 across the board. Connecticut, 6 and 6. Delaware, 3s across the board. DC, 3. You have Florida, 5 and 4. See right there, you can see it 5 here with the written, but you have 4 with the credit cards. Then Georgia, you have 6, 4 or 6. They have has those asterisks there. That's probably for certain type of accounts. I'll follow back up on that. You got Hawaii 6 across the board, Idaho 5 and 5, Illinois. Illinois is one. Here's our tough group right here. This is our tough section right here. So you got Illinois 10, 5 and 10. You have Indiana 10, 6. You have Iowa 10, regardless right there. Then you have Kentucky 15, 5 or 15. Boy, and then you have Louisiana. They're good there. And let's see here. And don't worry, I'm going to tell you how you can deal with these two. Let's go down. Montana, 8588. You got, let's look at these. Most of the states are within that 3 to 6 year range. And then you have Rhode Island, South Carolina, 10 across the board for Rhode Island, regardless. That means that 10, you have an account that goes bad. You live in Rhode Island, 10 years, the debt collector or original creditor can come after you on that. So I guarantee you what would coincide with these states is that some of the ones might have a lot of people that are always working on credit repair, because if they could come after you for that longer period of time, it's gonna, it's gonna make people get very motivated. You got West Virginia, 10 across the board. You got Wyoming, and here in my state of Wisconsin, you have 6 and 6 on there. So let's talk about the solution on what we could do about this. If you have debt collectors coming after you, and you go and you check out my website, or you go look online for the statute of limitations for the debt in your state, the first thing that you need to do is you need to notify them. A lot of people get this mixed up. You do not have to do a debt validation when you're challenging or notifying, not even challenging, when you're notifying a debt collector that they're trying to attempt to collect a debt that is past the legal statute of limitation to collect. Now, there are some situations that you can end up reclaiming that debt, where you can end up resetting that time frame on that debt. And actually, an individual just called our office last week about this. Was questioning them, and we was like, hey, this debt is past legal statute of limitations. There's no way that you have to pay it, and unless you made a payment to them or any type of sign any type of agreement. And guess what he said? He got real quiet on the phone, and I could hear my customer service when they were talking to him, customer service team member, and he said, did you sign a new contract? No, he said, but I did make a payment arrangement, and I made the first payment. And when you were like, when you made that payment, and we don't say this to people to try to make them feel ashamed or to, this is just flat out situation where people don't know. And that's why I will continue to make videos, refresh videos, because there's still millions of people that are out there who do not know that you don't have to pay a debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, because they don't, the debt collector is putting pressure on an individual. They maybe don't want to have their credit messed up. They know that they had the bill. They just didn't know that they didn't have an obligation to pay on that debt anymore. And what we were like, you paid, okay, so now you have a new contract. So if you have not initiated a new contract, have not made any payment, a payment without signature is still a new contract, because that check or that payment method is the instrument of making a new contract. Now, you could try to argue and do things that maybe could get you out of it by saying that you didn't know, that you were unaware, and you do have rights on that. It could take some work to make that happen, but you do have rights for that. So, but bottom line, if a debt is past legal statute of limitations by 1 day, all you have to do is give them a notification that the debt is past the legal statute of limitations and that you are demanding that they cease all collection activities. Now, I'm going to give you that letter. All you have to do is, there's a link below here. It's in my 3-pack of letters. Do not send a debt validation letter. There's no reason to do a debt validation when a debt is past legal statute of limitations to collect. You don't want to open any doors about the debt when you don't even have to pay the debt. So there's no reason to do a debt validation. So you just send them that letter and you'll get a response back that they're not going to try to collect on it. And if it's showing on your credit reports, you utilize that information to get the information taken off your credit reports. There is just no need for them to have it on your credit reports, even if it's not past the 7-year statute for having it on your credit reports. Also, the statute of limitations for a debt in your state has nothing to do with the statute of limitations for the 7-year statute of limitations for having information on your credit reports. Those are two different things. It has nothing to do with each other, but you can utilize the information that stopped the debt collector from being able to collect, or an original creditor from being able to collect because of statute of limitations. You could utilize that information to get that information removed off of your credit reports. I give you the letters, the statute of limitations letter. The link is below this video. Also, if you have debt collectors coming after you and your debt is not past the legal statute of limitations, I give you a letter that you could utilize for that also. And if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process and my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, you're going to need that to know when the statute of limitations period ran out, because you need to know when that account charged off. That's when the clock starts ticking, not when you open the account. It's when the account was charged off. So you maybe didn't make payments for 6 months and then they charged it off. So you may be thinking that 6 months is when you went bad, that's when the clock starts ticking. No, when it charges off is when it starts ticking. So go to my website, 3scores.com. Grab those credit reports, your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports in all 3 scores, and it'll have all the information so you can fight back against debt collectors that are trying to come after you for debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect. Thank you for your time. Please like this video. Please post your questions and comments. Please share this video. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.